Good evening. Rashard Tortorella with the Patriot Sentinel. This is a impromptu podcast of a situation that was brought to my attention earlier today in Oklahoma. I've got two guests who will be discussing something that I think is heinous, a miscarriage of justice, maybe. Gloria Bannister and Nicole Bogrowski. Stillwater teen sentence in rape case draws outrage is a headline in today's newspaper coming out of Stillwater. Community outcry over sentencing. After a controversial sentencing decision involving an 18-year-old Jesse Butler, who pleaded no contest to several counts of rape and strangulation, but received only 150 hours of community service instead of prison time. Butler was initially charged as an adult, but later as a youthful offender after prosecutors agreed to modify the charges in the case. Both victims reported that Butler sexually assaulted them multiple times, threatened them if they came forward. Court records show Butler must follow a mandatory counseling plan and remain law abiding until his 19th birthday. If he violates this probation, he could serve up to 78 years in prison. He's scheduled to return in court in December for a compliance hearing to determine whether he has followed the terms of his sentence. Nicole Vogrowski sent this to me earlier today, outraged, as many people were. Nicole, I'm speechless after reading this. Go ahead and tell me why you thought and you felt it was necessary to send it to me.
Did you hear him?
And we have technical. There she is.
I got it. I got it. Sorry.
All right. Did you hear the question, Nicole Vogrowski? So you sent the link to
Yeah.
me this morning. Why did you feel it was necessary that we discuss this tonight? And why couldn't wait until Friday?
Well, my best friend, Cindy Kenyon, shared it this morning, and she wrote me first thing this morning, probably, I mean, really early, and said, Nicole, I cannot believe this injustice. Like, what has happened here? Like, and I've always been an advocate for women. And so she brought it to my attention. I went and read her post, and we are just like appalled. And then throughout the day, I had so many people saying, what are y'all going to do about this? And I'm thinking, well, we need to, like, everyone made everyone famous when we were doing, Charlie Kirk, and people were being egregious and insensitive. And I think this kid needs to be made famous. I think that what happened today was a complete disservice of justice. I'm just shocked. I'm so shocked. I think the judges should be held accountable. And I feel so bad for the victims. Like, my heart is so broken because he is getting a slap on the wrist, and she has a lifetime sentence for being raped. Or now, I guess there's multiple victims actually, and
Two
that's something
altogether.
that, yeah. Well, they're not going to get over that. So, it's I'm devastated for them.
Nicole, you're out of frame. Can you pan your camera, please? To
Okay, there. Can
there
you
you
see
go.
me? That's
I
fine.
can see you. Gloria is on them with us too as well. Gloria, I know you're an advocate for women issues. You heard of this story as well this morning, but you didn't
Yes.
send it to me. But what are your feelings about this case?
My heart is broken for the victims always. And how is a 17-year-old knows what he's doing? And I don't understand how in our state of Oklahoma right now that you have a young adult who can do such an egregious crime against young women. I don't even know the ages of these women or young girls. I don't know. But what I do know is that he had physical force, threats, intimidation, strangulation. I mean, he could have murdered them. At what point do we stop? Why in the world is he being tried as an adult and then it gets lowered to a a youth, and then he gets misdemeanor. And let me see, I'm looking at his charges right now, and he has daily check-ins, weekly counseling, but no jail time. How's he going to pay for what he did?
Well, that's a good
Like any
question.
reparations for the girls?
Well, that's a great question, and the only person that can answer that is the district attorney. And I researched this on the way home, and in the last 45 minutes, I still cannot find an acceptable response for a reason that the DA will allow one judge to take over a case that was already adjudicated. Well, not fully
Right,
adjudicated, but he was convicted as an adult. We can all
right.
agree this crime and the elements are heinous in nature. Things that we see on television and in movies where the perpetrator goes straight to jail, even at 16, 15 years old. So the only person that can answer this satisfactorily to us is the DA. And so I hope one of us reaches out to him or his office tomorrow and we can get him on the show tomorrow night and have him explain why he allowed this to happen. Because as the news reports in Stillwater indicate, there's no comment from the DA's office, no comment from the judge that took over the case. And I know as a parent, all three of us have daughters, that we would be outraged if our DA allowed a
Absolutely.
17-year-old who's still in high school, who was found guilty as an adult, to switch courtrooms with another judge. And Vrogrowski,
Hmm.
you had mentioned that the judge that he went to is a Democrat. Now, I asked you earlier today, does that matter?
Yeah, I think it does. I do. I think it matters tremendously because I see a common trajectory of these Democratic judges allowing killers. I mean, look what happened right before Charlie Kirk got killed. The sweet girl that got stabbed on the train. I mean, these
Yep.
judges don't. They don't care about justice, and it's heartbreaking. And I think that, you know, everyone's saying that we need to make this kid famous. I think we need to make the judges famous. I think that we need to show them that justice. I don't know what they, you know, you take an oath when you're a doctor, you take an oath when you're a judge to withhold the law. And I don't understand how they can let a rapist out with, you know, he had 150 hours of community service. Oh my gosh, like community service. Oh my gosh, and he has to stay off social media. What that is so such a punishment. And then my daughter is 25, and today she was like, "Mom, I never speak up, I never get involved, but this is just something that cannot be ignored."
It cannot be ignored and should not be ignored. And it's ironic of all days, of all weeks, here in Norman, Oklahoma, at the University of Oklahoma, we do have the Turning Point event to honor Charlie
Right,
Kirk. And
right.
it's a great lineup. And to have this as a news that is really not, it's really not breaking down south here in Norman.
No.
If it wasn't for the social media warriors, and I mean that in a good way, we would have never known that this happened. But the ramification will echo around Oklahoma for years if the appearance that you can judge shop to get a better ruling is the message that's being sent. Glory, do you agree that if you have the
I
money
agree
and the means,
100%.
you can find a
Yeah.
judge to agree with you?
Yep. I believe that highly, because here's the deal. Just doing a simple little research on the judge's role in this decision, assuming this is legitimate, is the general legal approaches that people often use in similar situations, right? There were factual sharing to avoid any misinformation or harassment. And I think that it's possible that this judge may not have taken into account what these young girls faced. And we all know that DHS is very broken. And I think that as local, not that I'm a journalist, but I am somebody who does care very deeply. that covering crimes and women's rights or legal issues, it's very necessary that the correct, relevant topics get talked about. Justice for victims and Oklahoma judiciary, or hashtag how do we keep people safe? Because we're not just talking about women, we're talking about young men too. Crimes happen against everybody,
Exactly.
not just women.
Anna,
And
e- e- exactly. We have Anna Rab that just joined. Anna, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
okay,
Anna, how are you involved in this story?
I've been friends with Nicole and spoke at one of her events. And part of my testimony, as she knows, is sexual assault survivor. And so it's very personal to me, and as I know it is to her. And I would do anything that I can to help speak up on this subject.
So, are you familiar with the elements of this case where a 17-year-old boy still in high
Yes.
school was initially found guilty as an adult, but then
Hmm.
found a judge that treated him as a youthful offender and sentenced him to community service, with the caveat that if he completes his 150 hours with no without breaking probation, basically, that his life goes on. But are you a mother of daughters? You have children too?
I am. I am. I have a 19-year-old daughter. And if this was my daughter, I've literally told people, like, God, don't test me. This is the one thing that I do not know how I would deal with this. It's a sentence of community service for something like this is it's beyond comprehensible. It's beyond. This person will reoffend. All this has done is
yeah,
reassert to him that there's no real consequences. He will reoffend. This doesn't just hurt the girls who have already been harmed for life, but it assures us that there's going to be more. And this is it's
Right.
disgusting. It's mind-boggling.
Well, as a father of two daughters, I find it disgusting. And if we can get tomorrow night one of the family members, and not just for this show, just to not us for not for clicks, but I would know exactly how they felt if they're not under a gag order to discuss this. But it does need to be
Right.
discussed. Nicole Progrowska, back to you. Your daughter, 25 years old, can very well take care of herself and defend herself. But if you were the parent of a case and this happened to your daughter, how would you react?
Honestly, I really probably shouldn't answer that publicly, how I would react, because my kids are my world. My daughter is everything to me. Whenever, and I'm a victim of sexual assault myself. So this subject goes very deep for me and Anna. Anna was one of my speakers. You were RMC. Um, I honestly cannot explain to you the disdain I have for this young man. You know, um, there's no way. Honestly, I don't want to say vengeance, but I want such justice. I think those judges have got to be held accountable for this, because that I'm telling you, as a girl that's gone through it, me now a grown woman, my daughter, and I see what these young girls go through. This is just not okay. It's not okay. And this is going to, I'm 52 years old. It never goes away. These girls are going to have to live with this forever. And so he gets to wear his sunglasses. He was a cocky little brat in these pictures. If you see the pictures with his family in the courthouse, and I've got to bring something up. My daughter brought this up to me today. Why in the world? I have to tell you, I think the question you should ask me, Rashar, is, as a parent, and if my son did this, how would I handle this? Would I protect him and justify? He confessed to this. He actually said he did it. So, what would I do if my boys did this? I'll tell you something I would do. I'd pray for them first and foremost. I would get them help. I would let them, they need to go and face the consequences that they deserve, because I love them with all of my heart and soul, but that is not okay. And I would not be the parent, like his parents apparently are, protecting him They've blocked their social media. Did you? I don't know if y'all know that, but they are being tagged in things. They're going
Yes.
to come under attack, and it's not the parents' fault that this kid did this. It's not. It's not the parents' fault. But how you respond means everything, and y'all know that. Like they should say, "I am not okay with what my son did, and he needs to be punished." My
Well, that's a
son straight
problem
up.
too. Our sons, okay, as a father, I'll answer that question for you and for all of us, and probably for all the parents and fathers who watch the show tonight and tomorrow. That yes, how I'd react, I'd go beat some ass, and I don't think any sheriff in that county would even look in my direction and probably see it as justified. Now, I hope that's the case, but I can imagine the parents and the fathers of these two young women, how they must be feeling this week that the law basically said you do not count, and we need to change that because I don't have sons. I know Gloria, you have a son, and I'm not sure if you get a boy, but as parents, it's our responsibility to make sure our kids don't turn out to be shitheads.
Yeah.
If they do
Yes.
something wrong, it's not our job to defend them. I remember growing up, and we probably all grew up in the same era, that my parents told me that if I committed a crime or got arrested, I'm going to spend the night in jail. They're not going to bail me out. Today's kids, and some parents, not all parents, they coddle their children. If I was the mother, the parent of that boy, I would not have helped him. If
No.
this was true and he committed this crime, I would have let him rot in jail. I love him. I would be there for him in spirit, but I would not be there and I would not judge shop to get him off because what lesson does this is I'll tell you what's going to teach him that for the right price they can get out of whatever situation they're in. Gloria, do you agree?
I agree with that. And something that comes to mind is not only is he a convicted rapist walking free, his parents have to deal with that because he admitted fault. And as a parent of a boy and a girl, and they are both adults and they are having children of their own, I know with the way I raised my children that they're just as convicted as we are. And they would do anything and everything to protect their children. So as parents, we do protect our children. And I want to pray for these parents because their son knew what he was doing. However, there's got to be something else that goes along with it. Did the we're living in psychological warfare all the time. And so was the kid psychological or is he just a mean little, young thing? Too much testosterone? I mean, what made him do it, first of all? And secondly, what kind of help are these young girls that are victims of this boy, this young man? What's going to happen to them? Because we know that there are actual advocates out there, but they may not be the right type of advocates. Does it make sense? So we have victim advocates out there that lean left, liberal, when they should be centrally located and central to helping individuals.
Exactly. And tomorrow, I'm going to reach out to the DA's office and basically, I'll ask him what his decision was and his rationale for allowing this to happen. Marcus Hill commented, "It's an egregious liberal, progressive judge that caused all this," and he even
Right.
goes as far as to say that this is a form of domestic terrorism. So
Thank you,
sexual
Marcus.
offenses of this nature should be domestic terrorism. Anna, do you agree?
Hello? Oh,
Anna,
sorry.
do it.
Absolutely. I think I'm really having trouble wrapping my head around this.
Mhm.
This crime that yeah, the question, how was it reduced? How was he reduced to not be charged as an adult? Um, but I think it is an act of terror on women when you tell us that if that happens to our daughters, that our daughters are not going to be defended, that the perpetrator is going to get a slap on the hand, especially in a culture and in a climate where sexual crimes are at an all-time high, and our daughters are as they're not safe, especially college campuses in this age, and with being drugged and things like that happen. All this does is tell men and young men that we don't really care about your girls. We don't really care
Right.
about your girls. That's all it says. In the suffering, Nicole and I both understand. Um, I'm a survivor, and I'm every day I'm working towards healing, but I will be marked for the rest of my life because of what happened to me. Every day of my life is different because of what happened to me. It wasn't just a one-time event. It's a cascade of trying to heal, of trying to be restored. And when you have that in your life, everything forward is changed. These young women will be lucky if they will ever be able to have a normal sex life, if they
That's
will
right.
be able to enjoy the normal things because of what's been taken away from them. Not only that, but she was attacked violently and almost killed. Why isn't that attempted murder? Like, what is happening here? She was strangled until she blacked out. Like, where is that crime? Where is that crime? We're talking about rape and attempted murder, and we get a slap on the
Right.
wrist. My mind is spinning.
I don't think that this issue is settled. Cindy Kenson, Cindy, I hope I
Love
say
her.
your. It's not. It can't be, and we won't let it be done. A post Cindy had posted, and she's basically saying that the level of evil in this crime. He strangled
Yeah.
her once and then decided he should strangle her for a second time. If that does not prove intent to commit murder,
Right.
Mhm.
Yes.
I don't know what does. And it goes back to the
Exactly.
prosecutor, goes back to the second judge who took this case. And you had mentioned Bogowski that she was a Democrat, but I'm not going to say that she made that decision because she was a Democrat. I'm going to say that she's a shit judge. Okay. She should
Yeah.
have recused herself and said, no, the seriousness and the heinous of the crime itself and all the elements being met for attempted murder and just excuse herself and be done with it. And so we're not done with it. Another poster, a buddy of mine, hold on a second, John Greening here in Norman said that we should make the judge famous. I think the prosecutor needs to be made famous because he's the one that could have come out and said, no, we're not going to do this. So why is he not in the news? He has made no comments. And then again, it could be that a judge issued a gag order, the second judge. We don't know for sure. But as a prosecutor, he is also responsible for sharing his side of the story on why the state allowed a potential murderer, okay, we can't see because he's not convicted, to go free basically. Bogrowski, you had your hand up. What's on your mind?
I do, and I feel very strongly about this. And I know Anna is going to. Again, she was a speaker at our conference, the Dirty Dozen last year. And I'm going to tell you something. So today, I mean, like I've already been mad about this for years. How men, the strangulation factor. I did some research a while back, and that most strangulation factors lead to death. And so when a man is so angry and so intent on strangling a woman, is usually with an intent to kill. And the fact is, it gets categorized in the legal system under so many different things. So it's hard to give you complete statistics on how many people, but at the least 100 a year. So I will say this: I wrote our Representative Emily Geist today. I wrote
Mm-hmm.
Senator, or not Senator, Representative Brian Hill, a prayer partner of mine from Salt and Light Leadership. I asked them, how in the world do we get legislation on the floor that states that strangulation is attempted murder? Because it is. Why would you strangle somebody? if you are strangling someone, and then you know what you have to do, you know what you get to go through sometimes, and I hate to say this and I won't go into detail, but you'll have a cop come to your door and ask you, was it a good strangle? What could be a good strangle? I am telling you right now, legislation needs to be changed where we make a difference, and the people that do these heinous crimes, it is attempted murder. Maybe they'll think twice.
I agree with everyone here. We are at the end of the show for tonight. I want to thank Nicole Wogrowski, Gloria Bannister, and Anna. It's nice seeing you again. I was the MC at the event last year, and always great hearing conversation and common sense. We will continue this tomorrow night, same time. Hang on a second. Got a caller. I like this new software. Linda.
Oh, good.
Steve Valerian.
Linda. Hang on a second. Linda, you still with us?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Are you leaving that
Can you?
TP USA event? Yes.
I've just left, yes. I just left there.
Okay. We're breaking up, but basically, we're discussing the case in Stillwater of the 17-year-old boy who strangled two women,
Yes.
basically getting off scot free. And I know you're coming in late. We're going to have to bring you on to the
Yes.
next segment. That's tomorrow night. But are you familiar with this story or the case or the family?
I, yes, I'm just familiar with reading about it. I don't know anything personally, but I'm aghast at it. Something has to be done.
Yeah, something will be
Can you guys
done.
hear
We're
me?
not done with this. Yes, we can hear you. Hey, Linda, we're gonna have to bring you on tomorrow. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop you off for now,
Okay.
and we'll finish this with part two tomorrow night. I want to thank Nicole Vogrowski, Anna, and Gloria Bannister. I'm Rashard Tortorello with the Patriot Sentinel, sponsored by the City News OKC and the newly launched City News America. We're here to tell and share conservative, I wouldn't say interpretation of news, but we are a conservative news outlets, and we don't spin it for any purposes other than the truth. So I want to thank you, ladies, for tonight, and stand by as we sign off. I appreciate you all showing up tonight, and I appreciate you sharing the story with me. This could be the next big story in Oklahoma, and if it wasn't for people like yourselves to bring it to my attention, nobody would have known. So thank you all.
Thank you, Rashar.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rashar.
All right, stand by.